Welcome back to another episode of Reel Chums. We're chatting about movies, feels like hanging out with friends. I'm your host, Marcel, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Danny.
This week, we are talking about One Battle After Another. Written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, the film stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Teyana Taylor, Chase Infinity, and many more.
Before we roll the intro, just a quick reminder, if you're not watching us on YouTube, make sure you head over there and subscribe. It's the best way to support the show. We have movie reviews, we have trailer reactions, obviously the podcast that you're watching or listening to, and so much more. So head on over there, like, subscribe, so you never miss out on all the content that we're producing this season.
All right, we're back. I'm glad to be talking about another film that just wrecked me, just like we did with Marty Supreme. Fantastic episode. If you haven't checked it out, head over there. After this one, absolute pumped. But before we hop into the full, let's. You have a fun thread for us to like give a hot take on.
You know, I don't know if it's a look. As of recording today, we're recording on a Thursday. The Oscar nominations came out this morning.
Yep.
And congrats to Sinners. If you want to hear our full thoughts on our reaction on nominations, head over to YouTube as we did a video on that. But rightfully so, or unfortunately, rightfully so. Okay,
so.
Rightfully so. Wicked received 0 nominations. Wicked Part 2 or Wicked
2.
for Good. Yeah, received 0 nominations. Keep in mind, last year they had 10 nominations. They're at 0 this year. And I just came across someone that took it very personal that they didn't get any nominations. And anyway, she goes on to say the baffling thing about Wicked is both movies were made at the same time. So essentially, they are the same product. To go from 10 nominations to 0 kind of just shows the Academy are full of shit. And then she goes on to say, also, you cannot convince me F1 is a better film than Wicked.
Listen, girl, I was like, dude, we are not of the same universe. Let's be real, okay? Whatever your F1 takes, that's fine. I get it.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, this is just another testament that Wicked Part 2 should have just been part of 1. And they would have had maybe a little extra and they would have taken it home and had a better overall experience. They've muddied, like you have said, Part 1.
Part 1. Yeah. No, 100%. I just... And I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels that way. Part 2 really kind of ruined the first one for me. I don't know. I just think it's funny. I think I'm going to pull up that thread real quick. The first comment that someone says there is, but also the argument for it not getting any is made by your own statement. It's basically the same movie. It's not a new work of art. Let's focus on new stuff created this year. Oh my gosh. I just love. Anyways, I hated Wicked Part 2. I'm glad it didn't get its nominations. Again, I don't wish anyone any ill will.
You're not harping. It's just that at the end of the day, we have some other better films.
This was a very competitive year. Like, let's talk about that.
It was a competitive year.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. Like, Wicked really did not do anything new from its previous year. Or from its previous film. It didn't, if anything, it made things worse. It didn't fix the things that it needed to have fixed from the first one. So, like, yeah, I'm sorry, like, you just didn't hit the mark. And I think I saw someone else commenting about, for example, they talked about like Lord of the Rings, how the 3 were filmed back to back, and they said the same thing, like, well, then if they were filmed back to back, then it should just be considered one movie. It's like, no. Like, that story and production improved and it grew and evolved per movie. So, like, yeah, it merits all of the awards that it got and nominations. I don't know. I just people.
One Battle After Another, a synopsis, right? This is what we got. Retired revolutionary Bob Ferguson, now living off-grid with his daughter Willa, finds his life thrown into chaos as their hidden life is shattered by the reappearance of their nemesis, the ruthless military official Colonel Lockjaw, forcing Bob to confront his past and protect Willa.
Look, we're in this series here at Reel Chums talking about some of the big award-nominated films of the year. We did Marty Supreme. We're doing this One Battle After Another.
Last season.
Exactly. So we're coming back, or we're tackling this just because I even voted it as my favorite movie of the year, which I continue to stand by that. Um, this is. I want to talk a little bit about what your experience was watching this, because you saw this in theaters, right, Danny?
I did watch this in theaters. You and I were wanted. We just couldn't make it happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to go see this movie. I'm hearing some good things, and I wanted to go see it. And I was absolutely pleasantly surprised by not only the satirical take, the amazing decision for Panavision, the storytelling, the comedic moments that are so just matter of fact, and it absolutely rips. The score, there's so much to love about this film, and I was enamored. I was absolutely floored by I was not expecting what it was, even though, like, I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson has his own flavor, but like, and I uh and he does what he does so well. But I just love what he's doing. He did with One Bad After Another. Leo and the rest of the team were absolutely phenomenal, and I'm really excited to be talking about them. And so for me, it was just so awesome to see it on the big screen. It was so, and I was in a pretty small theater, and like like maybe two other people in the theater, and I was like blown away by the fact that not more people were there. And I'm like, you guys are all dumb. This movie, is so good. And I'm so pumped to be talking about it. So that was my initial impressions. Um, I, I think there's not a day that has gone by that I've not thought about some kind of moment with the political climate that we have here in the
Mhm.
states, from this film. And I think that's a testament to like the commentary that it's giving, and it's awesome.
Yeah. Look, I felt the same way. I think this was my most anticipated movies of 2025 were number one, Superman, because I love Superman. Two was this, and then three was Sinners. And after Superman, and after having watched Sinners, I was like, okay, I'm ready for this PTA and Leo combo. And as the movie came out, the hype around it, I loved the idea of like filming this in Panavision. Got to learn a little bit about those cameras and just how they were refurbished Panavision cameras that Giovanni Ribisi of all people has this
Yes.
lovely like hobby to like refurbish these cameras, and that's how they were able to get access to all of them. What a stud of a human being. Most recently we just saw him in Avatar. But like just I didn't get to see it in theaters, and I was bummed. I was just too busy during that time. And so as soon as this came out on VOD, I bought it, watched it. I managed to mute everything on social media about the movie, so that way
Yeah.
nothing would get spoiled. And I
Hmm.
just had a blast. Like
It's a
I
blast.
it's a great time. I was laughing out loud. I in my living room. I've seen it 3 times since
Hmm.
my first time. I have a great time with the movie. It does so much with themes, with camera work. The score is phenomenal. Obviously, the performances from Leo and the rest of the cast. This truly is again. I'll double down on it. Like, this is the best movie of 2025 for me, and 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 I think it may be, well, like, probably one of the best movies of this decade. Like, I think it'll have that significance in our culture of movies that we need to discuss. I also just love the idea. Well, we're going to be skipping around a lot because I have a lot
Hmm.
of thoughts about this, because this is obviously PTA's most expensive film.
Yes.
I think it budgeted at 150 million
Right.
ish, give or take. It there's a lot of discourse online on the budget, on how much it needs to gross for it to be successful. We'll talk about that in a bit, but I just there's a lot of attention in this movie, and I think now that it's been
Yes.
nominated and has received its nominations and other wins at other ceremonies, it's interesting to just kind of have that top of mind as we discuss what does that mean, especially like as we look at, again, my two favorite movies of the year being this One Battle After Another and Sinners.
Right.
Sinners, someone like a Michael B. Jordan who um his budget was what, like 90 million for
Yeah.
Sinners. and we can talk about this, and maybe I might just be reading too much into it. Like, how does Michael B. Jordan, who has directed and produced, you know, extremely financial successful movies, still struggles to find to like have to like validate his budget? And
Yeah.
in that stupid Variety article that came out when Sinners came out, like, Sinners is trending well, but here's why it's still not successful, right? And like everyone was
Right.
like, whereas someone like a PTA who's only done like small budget movies hasn't done any like hasn't had the gross impact financially like a Ryan Coogler gets
Right.
gets like 150 million. But we'll talk about that in a second. And this isn't
Why
this
don't we
isn't a
just talk about it right now?
this isn't a criticism to the directors. I just think it's a criticism of like the studio,
Studios.
right?
Yeah, 100%. The reality is that, like, whether we like it or not, people of color, of male versus female, will always, there will be a discrepancy in in production budget, in payment of talent, in payment of the team of crew. um and it is what it is. Like that, it's not that is what it is, but it doesn't always have to be that way. And I think this is one of those things where, like, you know what I know as a creative myself, you can give anyone a budget and they're gonna fill it out, and if they're good, they're gonna make the most out of that budget,
Yeah.
right? And I think that it's not like you said, this is not a hard or a jab at PTA or Kugler, but it's the reality that the studios like look at it like, well, I don't know, even though you've like hit 4 bangers, 4 home runs, I don't know if we can give you another 10 million because like it's IMAX and that's a lot of money.
Right.
And yet they'll look at PTA, and maybe one studio exec loves Punch Drug Love, and it's like, listen, give PTA whatever he wants. I'll take it, right?
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know. I could be reading into that. I'm not an exec me, but the reality is it's frustrating because could you imagine, like, every creative, as once they get to a certain level, there's this level of like, if I had that extra money, this is what they know what they would do with it. They might spend it on an additional scene that they couldn't have gotten because they didn't have that extra little cash. It's about location, it's about set design, it's about additional quality. It may not fundamentally change what they're doing, but it may add just a little extra element that helps to make the movie better. And it's interesting because you look at the two films and you would say, like, people who aren't technical, they would look at Sin and say, like, that one costs more than PTA, than One Battle After Another.
Yeah. I and again, like it's not a criticism to either director. I think it's interesting, and PTA obviously has been working longer than Ryan Coogler, and has that buy-in and whatnot. But Ryan Coogler did negotiate like owning the rights to the movie, and so like there's benefits to either or. But I love these two movies, but we're here to talk One Battle After Another. I want to start off talking about the characters because in traditional PTA fashion, he is great at writing complex, flawed characters. Traditionally, his protagonists aren't usually these, knights in shining armor. They're flawed. They're struggling. They have many layers to them. And I kind of want to start off with that because and we'll start off with Porphydia, because you and I were talking. If you haven't listened to it again, our episode on the best and worst of 2025, we briefly talked Porphydia, and I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, Danny, but like you had expressed some.
Yeah, I don't. My initial
Go
impression,
ahead.
even now, I'm like, I don't love her character, but I think Teyana Taylor does a phenomenal job at portraying Perfidia. And I think that for me, that character didn't resonate with me. Not that it didn't resonate with me. I understood her and why she was who she was, but I'm like, I had a hard time with it, right? And I think that's a beauty of what this film provides, right? You look at this individual who is a strong leader, or an opinionated leader who is aggressive and is looking to do something rash, but then have to face with the reality of the mundanity of life, of having to have a child. What does that mean for her and her desires, and how that impacts her decisions in throughout the film, and is the ultimate motivator for the film of all of it, right?
Yeah.
And I think for me that was the initial thing. After watching it two more times, like I don't dislike her as much, but I still think she's a character that I bristle with because of just the complexity that she is.
I've been thinking about her character because and I was talking to someone else about this. I believe that Porphydia and Lockjaw are the only two characters in this movie that have agency.
Mm,
Everyone else is reactionary. Everyone else is
yeah,
reacting to Lockjaw coming after them, right?
right.
And even Porphydia's choices and agency, and the consequences that it has after. And I strongly believe that these are the two characters that really have agency. Yes, everyone
Freedom.
else freedom, right?
Yeah,
Which we talk
there's a
about.
line, doesn't he say? Doesn't Lockjaw, played by Penn, absolutely phenomenal. I'm excited to talk about him. You know, it's when he's taking Willa, and he's like, she was free. They're in the car, I think, as he's
Mhm.
trying to drive her to a thing, and he mentions her that she was a free woman. Like, she was this idea that you're expressing, right? That
Yeah,
she was a warrior, that she was free, and she made her own decisions.
yeah, and even later, Sensei asks, what is freedom? Bob says, well, what is it, right? No fear, just like Tom freaking Cruise.
Cruise. Freaking Sensei, dude.
But anyway, so I've been struggling with this because she is at the beginning a selfish character to a degree, right? And we've talked about
Yeah,
like we can put the label that she's going through PTS, postpartum depression in general. And again, we are two dudes that are not the authority to talk about the impact that
no,
pregnancy has on a woman's life, right? But like it's a reaction that she's having after having a baby, right? And
right.
in this feeling of insecurity of saying, like you don't, like, you used to be like the main thing in your life, and now I'm nothing. And that insecurity and depression or challenge that she's interacting with, and feeling that she then has to now selfishly, or because of her commitments, leave her family aside to go follow on to this revolution, right? And I've been thinking to myself, like, would I have liked the character better? I let me take that back. I love the character of Perfidia because of the path that she puts this movie on, right? This
Yes.
prologue of 33 minutes, I counted 33 minutes and 44
Yeah.
seconds, right? This prologue that really incites the rest of the movie. I love her character for that. But would I have a different view on her character if she had been caught and tortured, which then led her to give names, and then she somehow escaped?
If she wasn't a
And
rat.
if she wasn't a rat, if she hadn't abandoned her, Bob and Willa, or even if she had maybe just like died, like, would I be feeling differently towards the character if she had been portrayed that way?
Yeah.
And I just think it's a disservice to the character, because one of my favorite scenes in this movie is the very end, right? When Willa is reading the letter from Perfidia. And
Perfidia.
we don't know if this letter was arrived 10 years ago,
Right.
the day before, or whatever, right? But I love just almost like not the redemption necessarily, because I don't think that's what the movie is going for, but perhaps the evolution of the character, the growth of her, as she talks about, as she asks, I think I wrote it down. She asks Willa in the letter, like, are you happy? Do you have love? What will you do when you get older? Will you try to change the world like I did? We failed, but maybe you will not. Maybe your generation will be the ones that put the world right. And I just love that evolution of the character, because, again, PTA is great at writing these flawed characters. The movie doesn't villainize Perfidia.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, is like, why as I look back at watching this film a couple more times now, I don't love Perfidia's character, not because she's not strong, not because she doesn't perform, or not because she is bold, or but because I do think she's bold, that she's strong and she knows who she is at the time, and then she has a baby and struggles. She kind of loses it, and I know that I wouldn't make the choices she'd be making, and that is a conflict for me, right? And that's okay. What I do love, though, as I've watched it more, I love this perspective between, like you said, that both Lockjaw and Perfidia are in control of their lives and in their decisions. And this idea that Willa is this pinpoint of losing some element of that.
Mm-hmm.
For Perfidia, it was as a baby, and for her, she didn't want to be controlled by the having to take care and do these things and lose out on what she'd built for herself in the early days, perhaps, or maybe. And so there's a sense of running away and making choices like shooting a guard in a robbery,
Yeah.
right? And then being put up against a wall and saying, knowing that she has a connection to Lockjaw, or control over Lockjaw.
That's what it is. It's not a connection, and I think this is again going back to her having choice. She comes in and meets him that first time, and the dude like has an erection before she even like says anything, right? And I think you see that you see her process that and says, I can take
I,
advantage of this, or I can
yes.
leverage this for my own gain. And
And
that's what
so I
it
think
ends up
that,
being, right?
yeah, and I think,
A black woman in America who has been a victim of the system of racism, of X, you name it, right? Sees that she has an opportunity to be in power over someone who has power. And of course, I think rightfully so, she says, yeah, I'm gonna own this and see
right.
how I can benefit from it.
And not only that, but like protect the rest of the people, right? She's taking on, like, I'll do something that I may not love because it moves I'll take one for the team. And so she has choice. Where I think Penn, even though, Lockjaw has choice overall of what he's doing, the only one he doesn't have is over Perfidia,
Yeah.
right? Like you said. And you see that as he starts to unravel, as he's looking for Willa.
Hmm.
This is one of those things where, like, PTA did something beautiful here. He has a movie that is long,
Hmm.
but it's paced and it's broken up so well. I look at Avatar and I asked the question, like, bro, Cameron, what are you doing, bro? Because it feels so disjointed when I watch Avatar, and I watch this and I feel like, oh, okay, we've set this up. Now we're moving to the next phase, and it doesn't feel disjointed,
Uh-huh.
but it feels refreshing. It feels
We
it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish your thought.
I was like, and the only thing I was going to say is, like, it's refreshing, but also, like, I'm excited for the next portion. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
excited to go on this additional journey of, like, okay, now now the tension's rising or the stakes have risen, and I'm here for that, right? And it's phenomenal.
We need to discuss your this like towards this most recent Avatar because I had a great time, and I know you've told me that you had some issues with it.
I think I
But
have issues with Avatar every single time I watch it one time, and then I watch it again a little bit more, and I'm like, no, it's not that bad. But I think there's this level of, like, yeah, well, it is not the Avatar show, so we won't talk about it here. We'll talk about it another way. You finally watched
yeah,
it, though?
yeah. I saw. Yeah, I watched it. I think like the week after it came out. I think I watched it a couple days after you did. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Anyways,
yeah,
we just haven't talked about it much.
yeah.
Okay.
But okay, let's jump into Lockjaw.
Okay.
Because this performance by Sean Penn and just who Lockjaw is
He deserves everything. He did
it's so crucial to this movie. Just the perverseness of the character, the way
the
Sean Penn decides to portray him, to just like the way he decides to like the choice of like even walking, right?
Oh my gosh! Not only his, I think what he did, how he prep for his physique,
Yeah.
The moment when he's in the elevator and he's like walking to this meeting and he takes out a little comment
Oh,
and like
it's so disgusting. So disgusting. He is like channeling perfectly an individual that has too much power, a racist, a misogynist, just you name it. Like he is the personification of everything that's wrong with humanity. And it's not that not you don't he's not empathetic or sympathetic where you feel bad at the end, but like you just want to punch him. Like you
you just want
feel
to,
yeah, you feel in
you
the
don't
sense
like him
that
at all.
yeah, you feel like you just want to punch him, and he's horrible, and that is hard to do in a performance, but also like in your script to like really say how you want this character to be portrayed and come off as. I think
I think
his introduction, right, is immediately you just get the idea as he's like licking his lips as Porphydia's talking to him, and he's just like talking under his breath, like, "Oh yeah," and you're just like, dude, what is wrong with
my
you?"
whole thing. That's the thing is like I think the weird relationship Perfidia has with Lockjaw, that she takes ownership, he takes power over him, and but that he's like almost like he basically put it on a platter for her. Like
Yeah,
he's like, oh, this is I want a strong woman. I don't care if she's black. Like, like, like you said, like all these things that come that he has power. He is the top dog, and yet he's being like humiliated by this one woman. And then we see his obsession, right?
yeah,
We see
yeah,
all the things that are happening with Perfidia and the growth that she's having with her and Bob and the relationship blooming. And then also we see them at one of the operations and it's from afar, from Lockjaw's view, right? And he's like looking through he's like, yeah. And then Bob touches Perfidia's butt and he's like, what? That's my woman. No way. No other man's gonna touch my woman. And he like takes it upon himself to put himself in a situation to like, put her in a corner,
yeah,
literally in the bathroom.
yeah. I the person, he personifies, what power is
Yes.
in politics, what corruption is, racism to it's this weird racism that he has because he does tell Bob, right, at the grocery store, like, I love black women, right, like
Yeah.
I love them, and the way he says it, right, like, yet he wants to be part of the Christmas Adventurers Club,
But
and
he lies.
the goal to purify the human race. It's this power hold to look at a race and say, my race is better than yours, and you serve one function, which is just to simply please me, satisfy me in
Right.
whatever those means and needs are. And
Yeah.
it's
I think what
disgusting, and I love
disgusting.
like I love the character
Listen,
for this movie, but just what a filthy character.
this is the thing. Perfidia is a strong character that has strong opinions that you can like or love. But what I do think you can appreciate is that who she is helps to really shape the impact of Willa's character due to the fact that of her choices with Lockjaw and how all this comes back. And at the end of it, it's the realization that like we do grow as human beings. We might have made mistakes, but there's times that people come back. Lockjaw is on the other hand. He's willing to go any length to cover up his mistake. He's
Mm-hmm.
willing to do is despicable, right? And he's willing, and not only is he despicable, but the Christmas Adventurers Club is also despicable. Merry
The
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Tim. Merry Christmas. Oh my gosh.
These individuals are people who have a despicable mission, and they're tying it to something that is one of the most, arguably one of the most important, a holiday that is of giving and of charity and of coming togetherness, right?
Mm-hmm.
The juxtaposition of these things, right? And it is absolutely, it's so triggering. And the fact that like that's his mission, like he gets mad at Willa as he's trying to take her into custody, that like, I'm a Christmas adventurer, and I have a higher calling that you will never understand. And I'm just like, it's just so dumb.
So dumb, but not justification. The full commitment to believe in
Yes,
this quote unquote higher calling, right, is what makes the character just so ridiculous.
absolutely
And, and
ridiculous.
and and yeah, there are people like this, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Unfortunately,
and they are ridiculous. And so it's funny to see it portrayed, and just how he feels this higher calling, how he has this toxic masculinity to the point where you can't even talk about how tight his shirt is because he immediately gets on the defensive. I'm not
am I
gay.
homo? Are you trying to say I'm homophobe? I'm gay?
I'm
I'm
not gay.
not. Dude, that I love. Sean Penn deserves every award. Like his commitment, the fact that they just didn't bust up every single time and like I don't want to know how many takes it did because like I would have died every single time he's on screen. Every single time he's doing he's doing a line. The way his manner channels the mannerism for this
Yeah,
Lockjaw's character. I think one of a great moment is he gets out of his big A truck
with
and
the flowers.
after with the flowers and
Yeah,
he's
doing his Vince McMahon walk. Yeah,
knocks on the door and he's like trying to fix his hair and he's trying to like get ready for Porphydia to showcase like we did it, girl. And
yeah,
then nothing happens and he's starting to get like questioning and he goes back to his truck and he grabs his little like door thing and it's like
yeah,
of course he would have a door buster in
yeah,
his car. And he goes to the note and realizes that he just got effed over
yeah.
yet again by Porphydia.
Mhm.
And that he's like, well, I'm never this is like and he like buries himself into doing all the things that he does, right?
Mhm.
For this character, I think what's so intriguing is that of all the things that you have in the world, he's this. And yet he comes like the moment when he's trying to confront or he's with Bob, he's like, all black people, like you said. And it's like he wants what he has, what Bob has. Then later he has this conflict of like, I want to be a Christmas adventurer, but I also maybe I do want a daughter. I miss like his comments of like, is just catching up for old times. We're gonna do some father daughter things after as she's running around trying to like in the gymnasium, and him telling her you have no manners, but then yet showing appreciation for Porphydia. And
I don't know that I quite agree with that, because I think this is the personification of racism. I think
yeah,
true racism, right, is looking down at a race, feeling that you are better than it and that you will exploit it and use it for whatever benefit.
yeah, it's a good point.
He says that he likes black women, but I think I think he hates black people, and but only cares for them when it's for his benefit. Look,
Yeah,
I won't go into details, but my wife was having a conversation with someone. Uh, what she was having a conversation with a coworker, and this coworker was going off about how he, you know, hates immigrants, and
yeah,
immigrants are taking away jobs and blah 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 blah. And my wife just, she gets away with people get away with saying things because they don't realize that she
yeah. Is a
is
different.
Latino, yeah,
Yeah,
and is married to a Latino. And anyways, and so, but the guy says something along the lines of, "But I love going to, where did he say? I love going to Costa Rica and."
yeah.
And being able, and I hope to one day meet a girl there and marry her. And my wife is just like,
Dude, do you hear yourself?
are you listening to yourself?
Yeah.
Like again, when I say that there are people like Lockjaw, there are people like Lockjaw,
I
right?
know people personally in my own personal life that are like Lockjaw that they they'll look at me and they're like, you're not part of them because of specific reasons that they've put me in a different class because I'm not, because I maybe show up where other, white people are or whatever. I don't know, go to the same church as them or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's like, you're not that Mexican.
That
It's like, what do you mean
Mexican.
I'm not that like I am Mexican. That's what I am. I'm first generation. I came here from immigrant parents. I'm an
Yeah.
immigrant. You can't take that out of me.
Right. And I think that's the power that these
Yeah.
individuals get,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
able
You're
to
right.
identify you, but to also say you're not that, or you are that when I need you to be,
When I need, yes.
right? Whether it's to prove a point, whether it's to benefit my needs, whether it's to whatever it is. That's the personification that Lockjaw is this man in power who is powerless because of how he views other races. And it's just, again, there are humans like this, unfortunately. And Lockjaw is just a perfect personification of it.
And I will laugh at them all the time, just like I laugh at
Always,
Lockjaw.
always. Speaking of laughing, let's talk Leo, because Bob Ferguson is just this is what okay. I'm gonna say this right now. If Leo does not win his another Oscar here, and Marty or Timothy Chalamet is a huge favorite right now, but Leo is doing so much more here than what Timothy did, and that's not a diss on Timothy.
That's not dig. It's I think you're 100% correct. I think what Timothy is doing, he just doubling down on the character of Marty, right? He's like personified. Leo becoming Bob Ferguson is a journey. I'm like trying to decide what are the words to describe this performance. I mean, it's captivating. It is.
It's funny.
It's funny.
It's engaging.
Yes.
I love everything that he does, from, again, the prologue, where he is committed to this revolutionary group, right? To the French 75. And then we slowly see him transition into like fatherhood and what it means to him to become a father. And then now 16 years later, as this
a baked former revolutionary who is just he's still obsessed with the world, but also cares so much for his daughter, and just wishes he had. Like I love the line of like when she gets mad at Willa gets mad at him in the kitchen, like, how'd you get home last night? And
I know how to drink and drive.
I know how to drink and drive. And then she's like, well, why do you have to work with it? And she gets mad at him, and he's like, he doesn't get mad. He just says, I can't remember what he says.
No, he compliments her, right? Like,
he's like, yeah,
good job for standing up for yourself, even if it means like you take digs at me. Like, yes, good job. It's this beautiful like character introduction at this stage, even though we've already met Bob,
right?
At this stage in his life, and as we are introduced to Willa, I love that scene because we learn everything about them. You have a father that's just way too cooked, paranoid, and a daughter who, like all teenage kids, looks at their parents and feels like they know better. And my parent doesn't know what's best for me. And then, but yet he's also trying to educate, but also be supportive of her as a female, and say, for you for standing up to me, even if it's
be a powerful woman.
Yeah, it's a beautiful interaction and dynamic that they have. But like, as frustrated as Willa is, and the weird dynamic of her even calling him Bob and not Dad, which pays off later, we'll talk about it. I love, just there is a love that she has for Bob, right? And she does care for him, even as he says, say the word, and she says, I love you, Bob, right? And she gets in the car and they drive off, right? There is that love that they have. Obviously, he has for her, and that she has for him.
I think what I love so much is that the opening portion of the prologue, is that right? Is that we see him as the Rocket Man, right? He knows he seduces Porphydia with his knowledge of bomb making, of what he can do, this journey of their love, as well as their escapades into doing revolutionary acts, these acts that are disrupting, whatever the greater system, or fighting back or whatnot. And then we get juxtaposed to this baked dad who still has some level, but it was a different life. And I love that we have him so frazzled, but he just wants his daughter back. That he loves her, wants to get back and make sure that she's safe. And it's, like the journey that comes and that we set that up for him, I think adds so much to the energy, the storytelling of this film, and to the comedic portions of he can't remember the freaking passwords. Listen here. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pull what the Winter Seven. Give me your manager, bro. The fact that they have a revolutionary line and there's a manager code for them to
Right.
get the manager is just the bonkers.
Fly
Right?
hawk. I'm calling in a fly hawk or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. Anyway, so for me, like I really like this growth that he has, that by the end of the movie he's even got his own phone, right? he's
Yeah.
he's kind of, and it's not that he's like it's not that sense of like safety. I'm trying to decide like what is it, like I don't know if I have words for it yet. I don't know if you do. Like the journey that the character has is one of that I appreciate. I love watching. It's so comedic. It feels like, as a dad of three girls, right? I resonate with that desire, the fact that, like, you know, you get jumbled. You can get jumbled if, when the one thing that you want, that you love and want for the most, is not attainable.
Yeah. And look, I was seeing an interview from PTA, and he talks about, he's like, yeah, obviously there's political tones and undertones here and
Sure,
whatnot.
of
He's like, but
course.
at the end of the movie, at the end of the day, this is a movie about a father trying to save his daughter, right?
Right.
With the backdrop of immigration, racism, systemic power, systemic injustices, etc. And that's what it is at its core. This is a
Right.
father that's just trying to save his daughter. A fully baked dad that can't, like you said, can't remember passwords, and he spends half, a chunk of the movie trying just to find an outlet to plug his cell phone into.
That's
uh, and I just, but the growth that we see of him is that of a protector.
yeah.
I think it's funny that they're given the social securities, right? They're getting ready to leave, and the one guy gives them, the Billy Goat gives them the social securities, and he says, and if you notice, he gets the child's social security, and Willa gets the mother's social security that just died. And I was listening to an interview with PTA, and he says that on the script, and they filmed it at that moment. What's his face? Bob says, "Wait, so am I the child?" Foreshadowing the type of relationship that he was going to be, right? That it
Yeah.
really was going to be Willa racing,
Being
taking care of him, being the adult in
the
this
adult
household,
in the
right?
yeah.
And anyway, he talks about how they tried it, they edited it, they just it took away from like the tension that was happening in the movie, so they took out that line. But that's really what it is. Like, you see him grow, mature, and become the protector that he at one point was judging Porphydia on, right? There's the line that he has early on in that prologue where they're at a bonfire, and
Yes.
he looks over and he says, it's like she doesn't even know that she's pregnant, right?
Right.
And you feel the judgment coming from him, right? To 16 years later, seeing him, like, it's like you don't realize that you're a father,
Father.
right?
Yes.
And so that final scene when Willa comes, they're on the road, he gets out of the car, and she says, "Who are you?" And he just keeps repeating, "It's
I'm your
me. It's dad. I'm your dad. No, who are you?" And that is so powerful, because this is a girl who just learned that her dad is not her dad,
right.
and for her to really then double down and triple down and get the validation that she needs of, who are you, and he just says, "It's me. It's dad." Right? I think it's now she sees that he can be the father figure, the protector that he originally was at one point,
Right.
and no longer became, but now is so beautiful. Like that scene just gets me every time. Like I watch it over and over again because I'm just like, it's her in this moment of desperation after a
She just killed a man.
24, yeah, after 24 hours of just like chaos of killing a man.
Yes.
She's the only person of our protagonist that like shoots a gun, right? That
Yeah.
fires a gun, and she's vulnerable, she's scared, and just wants to know like, who are you? And for him to validate and say, it's me, it's dad, and I'm here
Right.
to protect you. I love it.
Just really appreciate that we did see that protector to like child to protector
Mm-hmm.
growth, and it's beautiful. Willa Ferguson's character, she's strong. I wish she had a little bit more performance. I think it would have been nice, but everything she was on, I just was great. I actually really love, like I think the fact that they have the scene of her calling out her dad and Bob applauding her for being strong, but then
Mm-hmm.
having to go do or um especially after being at the parent teacher conference and him just getting, I see you're teaching, I hope you're teaching the right history,
Hope you teach you the right history.
and then getting emotional
Yeah.
about this thing and how much it's affected him, and later how he tells Sensei that he's like, I can't do her hair.
Yeah.
And like, this is it's those small things. And I think it's Leo deserves a lot. I actually do think that he deserves the win here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely phenomenal. It's just so great.
I love that line. Just going back, and for some of our listeners that don't know, like Paul Thomas Anderson is married to Maya Rudolph, right? You know her from Saturday Night Live, and
Right.
so he is in a mixed race marriage and has kids, and for him, uh, I think this movie is obviously very personal to him.
Yeah.
And to even throw a line like that, like, I don't even know how to do her hair, right? It's in a moment where Bob, I think, is having this realization. He's been saved twice now by Sensei, and he he's coming out of it and realizing, well, like, I can't, like, what have I been up to? I can't even do her hair. And that realization for him to be like, I have kind of been failing as a father, and I need to prove to myself and to her that I can be that protector. Absolutely love that line.
It's really good. It's so subtle. I think this film has a lot of subtleness. And if you're not like really paying attention, there's stuff that's like blatantly subtle, but there's a lot of things like that line that are so small that contribute so much. And I think that's why I really like this film. I think it deserves everything. I want to talk about the Christmas Adventurers Club. And I think the reason why is that this backdrop, I was not expecting, like I said, I came to this and I was like, this. I expected a little bit more action, a little bit more the drama. There's drama, but this is such a comedic drama, a comedic like father daughter movie, um, with such real undertone or no full real sentiment of the reality of racism, just put into a movie. I found really refreshing to have a film, especially as a mixed race family, father with a white wife and mixed race kids, knowing that like there's these individuals out there, like there are people out there who like they don't have clubs, like I mean maybe they have clubs like this, but like there are people out there like they think this way, and it's like, and it is so absurd. It's so absurd to see on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And that the absurdity is real. The reality that there are people, like, I love the fact that he walks into the underground. He's like, is this Linda's famous banana pancakes? And then he goes down and he goes to the meeting and he's like, Merry Christmas. And they sit down. All right, well, it's come to our attention that there's some whatever, but I'm going to hand it over to Bill to take it away. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
what? uh, the absurdity of it.
the satirical symbolism of
Yeah.
organizations like the KKK and just this wonderful, yeah, this wonderful like satirical take on these fascist, racist, you name it, groups that
Hmm.
still exist in our society, and just the ridiculousness of it all. Like when you sit down and think about it, like even as something as silly as Merry Christmas as they greet each other, like it just simply highlights the cartoonish yet dangerous like nature of like you said, tying it into Christmas, something that is meant to be inviting, uplifting for the whole world, and yet
Right.
it's this
To
dangerous way of tying a beloved holiday into this horrible approach and look into humanity, right? Them hail Saint Nick, like what a weird phrase to say to
what a
each
weird
other,
phrase.
but it's just it's cartoonish. And when you come down
Cartoonish.
to it, people, like racism is dangerous and it's just stupid, just
Yes.
as these people are.
What's crazy is that people will watch this film and be like appalled by
Hmm.
this group of and not understand, right? Because they will see that and they may themselves feel that way, but will not be able to understand and internalize that for themselves, which is so hard, right? Because it's like they'll look at them like this is ridiculous, and it's like, yeah, it is
Hmm.
ridiculous. The things that they'll go to do, the lengths that they'll go to ensure the secrecy, right? When you look at both of the organizations, the French 75 and the great movement that it takes place in the 16 years, how it's expanded, there's a whole network, people are doing all kinds of stuff and continuing the fight,
Hmm.
to having, you know, this other side that they're trying to fight against, these two opposing factors, right? Is so strong, and in both situations both of them are doing crazy things,
Yeah.
things that like we don't like. Why do we have to do these things, right? It's not the main theme, right? Like it's a it's in the film, it's satirical, and it's something that's so it causes you to think about the portion, because then you also have like the Mexican Underground Railroad and all these little things that when there is oppression, when there's that people will do in order to help people feel safe and protected, and that there is good
Yeah.
amongst all
Yeah.
the bad things, right? I think is it's just interesting. It's great to watch in a different take rather than like the same old, like, let's look at slavery, let's look at the Civil War and sort of thing. It's like really really appreciate that it's set in a modern time, and it's being so satirical and so just ludicrous in its namings and what's happening and all the little things that it highlights. All of it is ridiculous when you look at it in the real life.
It's so ridiculous. The fact that the PTA has been working on this movie, wanting to make it for the last 20 years, right? And had he made it 20 years ago, right? It, coming in the middle of like the George Bush era,
Yeah.
and looking back, 16 years prior, if at the French 75, coming out of the Reagan era. So like it's just interesting, like to your point, like these themes, how important and relevant continue to be, unfortunately. Um,
Right.
and just, I mean, you can put this movie, it can take place, 10 years ago, 20 years from now, right? And
Right. It's
it,
probably still hit hard.
yeah, just hit hard. I do want to talk about that ending though with the Christmas Adventurers Club. Like, did you like the idea of Lockjaw surviving the shotgun to the face, and then only for him to then die at the end at the headquarters of this group?
I don't. Yes and no. I think the first time I watched it, I was okay with it. Like, I was like, oh man, this guy just can't. He just keeps going.
Yeah.
Like, he has some crazy will that won't let him die, and yet he gets taken out by the people he wants to impress the most.
Mm-hmm.
But then this last watch, I was like, I kind of wish he didn't come back. I just want him to be done.
That's how I feel. I think I enjoy the idea of him, wanting to impress this organization, going to these extremes to hide this behavior in this child, only for just someone to be like, "No, we're not even gonna like listen to you." Just boom, right?
You
Shot to
said
the
she
face.
raped me in reverse.
Reverse raped me.
How does that even work?
Yeah. But I do think there is something. I don't know. I like the idea of him looking at the people that he wants to impress and then them turning their backs on him by killing him. Um, I don't know. I think it would have worked great if there was actually someone for him to look at and like just for him to have that realization. I'm 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 thinking of even like Andor, right?
Yeah.
Andor at the end we see that Dedra, who has
Hmm.
given everything to this
I love
organization, to
her.
this empire, only for her to just be put away in this prison, right? Like
Yeah.
that was so impactful because she witnessed and saw and had the realization of I'm screwed. Where I feel like here, Alokja just quietly goes to sleep and is dead,
Yeah.
right? So you don't have that moment of like, oh no, they got me, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
agree.
we also wouldn't have gone it when he got shot in the face. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
would
Yeah. I
probably
don't
would
know.
have
It's
worked that a little bit differently.
right. Right. Right.
I want to finish off maybe talking a little bit about like the directorial decisions, screenplay decisions made here, because this movie, obviously, we've talked about briefly about the VistaVision. It feels so lived in. It's a world that's lived in, maybe because of how relatable it is. But I just love just everything in this movie on how it's shot. The final like chase sequence in the rolling hills. The score here,
Hmm.
it's beautiful. Even I counted the score starts as soon as there's a score that starts and doesn't end from the moment that they go to the school and the little tracker goes off. Okay, and
Yeah.
we have the two notes from that wonderful score, and it just plays up until that whole sequence of Willa being taken in the van, of the immigration people showing up, the army showing up, that whole riot, the like you call it, the underground, the Latino Harriet Tubman situation that he calls
Situation. Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
that whole sequence up until he gets falls off the building and then gets tasered. It's like 25 minutes of this
Yeah.
wonderful score, very simple piano score, um, that just adds to the suspense, to the drama, to the chaos that is happening. And I just love it. Like this is one of those moments where I talk about like how the script, the music, the performances, the production design, everything comes together just for beautiful storytelling. And if you watch only that sequence of her leaving the school and Bob falling off the building, it is so powerful and it's so
Powerful.
intense. I just love
It
every
is
minute
so
of that.
intense. What I love about this is that there's this level of imperfectness throughout the film.
Yeah.
There's this level of like things are overexposed and then they're not overexposed. And then there's these are underexposed because they can't be exposed. Like they need to be underexposed.
Hmm.
And it adds such beauty to the film, adds that sense of lived in. I think it adds to the sense of uneasy, of it adds to how these characters are both rough and beautiful. Like, and it is, it is, I think the element, not only is the music adding, and not only are the scenes and the sequences, but the motivations of each character as we transition into the individual phases, and how those individuals' motivations in the world impact the film itself. Like you said, like a good portion of the middle of the film is just Bob trying to find a freaking charger for a phone, right?
Yeah.
And getting or find a gun, or you know, trying to find answers, right?
Yeah.
And how much that angst and nervousness then gets translated, amplified by the music, but juxtaposed by the calm ocean waves of
Ocean waves.
Sensei, right? And his very tight and understanding of this world that he's put together, of clarity and of understanding, like everything's gonna be fine. We're
Yeah.
moving along. And it is, that's what I think I love about this film, is that it is both chaotic and yet like uh peaceful, like not peaceful, like chaotic and beautiful at the same time.
Yes. And I think this is the biggest thought that I've had, because two of the biggest movies this year, this Marty Supreme, we just talked about Marty Supreme, and we talked a lot in last week's episode about the anxiety feeling that you have throughout this movie, of these horrible decisions that Marty's constantly making that just he keeps digging a deeper hole each and every time, right? And the movie is just paced, and it's just go 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 go. You're emotionally driven, you have so much happening, right? And you look at this one as well, the pacing here is beautiful, right? There's not a
Beautiful.
moment like that, I, at least for me, like I am never bored in this movie. And for being a movie
Mm-mm.
that's 2 hours and 40 something minutes long, like I'm just constantly looking forward to the next scene or the next act or whatever that may be, right? But these two movies, something that this one does differently is that it does give us time to breathe, right? And it gives us
Mhm.
time to, and again, it's, we're going after two different stories, two different styles of filmmaking. But I think something that I love about this movie is that in those highs that we have, those emotionally driven moments, we get then to have moments of quietness where we do have these beautiful lines of, I can't even do her hair, right?
Right.
Or where we get to see Willa ask about her mom, and her having to realize that her mom was a rat, right? And we have these moments of reflection and pondering, and I think that adds so much to this movie, to these characters and their growth and evolution, that that's something that perhaps Marty Supreme didn't quite do for different reasons, because they're trying
Right.
to achieve a different impact at the end of the movie. But I do love that. I think something that I love about this script, and again, we've talked a lot about that prologue scene, but I feel like I, as an amateur writer, would have done maybe flashbacks, right? I love that the movie
Mm.
does take 33 minutes and 44 seconds. Okay. In a 2 hour and 40-minute movie, it takes that much time to explain Porphydia, to explain the who these two characters are before they go into hiding, or before Bob goes into hiding with Willa. Like, I think I would have approached this movie, because I love a movie that just drops me in, and I'm being revealed truths along with like a Willa, right? Like,
Right.
I think it would have been a good impact, but doing it this way, and just we cut the presence, well, we cut off the character of Perfidia, yet we feel her presence throughout the rest of the movie,
Yes.
right? I think is so smart, because we took that prologue so long to flesh out, that we feel her presence and the impact of her decisions throughout the rest of the movie. Whereas an amateur writer like me would have been like, I think it's great if we just start, at the 16 years later, and we have flashbacks where we are then informed about what happened 16 years ago, and at the same time as Willa. And I think it would have either one would have worked, but we get a different impact to the story.
Yeah, I think that you get this level of like, of more of like, this is an unraveling of who you don't know who your parents are, whereas we find our journey, we understand the journey of what's left us, what's brought us to the 16 years,
Yeah.
and the impact that having Lockjaw get pulled into this ridiculous club, and him having to go bury uh a
His
sin,
secrets, a sin. Yeah.
uh and and know to see it's there, right? And he will go at do at any length, right?
Yeah.
I agree. That's just such a great take. I think that's, it's one that I didn't think about, but I 100% agree. Um, Look, there's so much love in this film. If you like, what's one of your favorite like comedic lines? And then what's one of your what scene do you love, just like love watching?
My favorite comedic line is when Bob goes to the dojo. He Sensei lets him in, and Sensei's talking to someone on the phone. And Bob walks to the back, comes back out, and he says, "All you got is nunchucks in here. Like, do you have any weapons, any guns? All you have is nunchucks in here." I just love the delivery of that because we see him go out of frame, and Sensei is just casually talking on the phone about a very distressful situation. If you they don't provide subtitles on what's being said in Spanish, but like this is where he's learning about ice, so to speak, arriving
Right,
and doing a raid, right? And he's just
right.
calm and
Let me
chill. La migra llegó.
chill.
And Bob just freaking out. All you have are nunchucks in here. Do you have any guns? I just love the delivery, the timing that Leo did there. My favorite scene though is the whole underground railroad that he's got going on.
It's so
I
good.
I just love the moment that we go upstairs. We go upstairs and we follow the characters, and we're walking down the line, and we just see this group of people that are living in this building, right? And Sensei talks about like the fact that, oh yeah, I've got this little Latino Harriet Tubman situation going on at my place. All legit. It's all from the heart. He says there's no cash. Like this is just something that I do to help my community, right? And something that I thought was so smart from a script perspective is that they then go into apartment 24, whatever it is, and Sensei is taking the time. Bob is just freaking out, right? He's
Freaking out.
chaotic and anxious, needs to find that plug, that outlet so he can charge his cell phone. And something that Sensei does is just that the script does is makes sure that Sensei introduces everyone to Bob, and he does it by name. This is so and so. Oh, this is the new
Yes.
one. This is so and so. Say hi. Blah blah blah. It humanizes the characters.
Yes.
It grounds the situation that
Absolutely.
we're in, but we're still. But it also adds to the comedy that Bob is freaking out. And all he wants is just an outlet, and he's like, "Oh no, this is so and so. Say hi!" Like, and
Well,
like
and then
he's
he's
being
like, "I'm so sorry.
introduced to everyone.
I'm so sorry, missed. I brought this to your doorstep." It's so good because the reality is that like Sergio should be the one, you know, Sensei should be the one that should be freaking out. He's got a huge group of people that he has to move.
Yeah, yeah.
That they're, but he's like, nah, dude. It's like we got this. We know what we're doing. It's like we're gonna move them. We're gonna get them to the chapel. And it's gonna be all right. Like like we got time. We'll be okay, right?
Hmm.
The ocean waves, Bob. Ocean
Ocean
waves.
waves.
It is absolutely beautiful. The more I watch that scene, the more I just absolutely fall in love with the fact that they don't take any additional time to like introduce them. We just we're brought into their world of one of the worst things that could happen, and them trying to do something to help families not be torn apart. Right?
Yeah,
It's just awesome.
I
Um,
love that scene. It's great.
yeah.
It's really by far, and just also like the camera movement in such a tight
Yes.
space. Like
Yeah.
you really had to frame and block everything perfectly. I love that scene. It's my favorite scene. I do love the ending though, with like the rolling hills. It's just beautiful and suspenseful. But yeah, the underground railroad scene is my favorite.
Um, I think I like, since you do that one, I'm gonna actually choose Perfidia's introduction to Lockjaw. I think that's just such a like absurd intro. Porphydia just relishing in her power over this white dude who will do whatever she says, and Lockjaw just being a complete perv. And it's so strong, so good. And just it's such a strong opening, such a powerful introduction to both these characters.
Yeah.
I think my favorite like little line or moment is where Lockjaw has shown up at this some like, I don't know, taco stand or some other thing, and like all the military, they come out there hot and heavy with their military escort, and they're like, all right, tell them what it is. And it's like, well, what's in these hills? And like, this is the sister of the bear, the beaver, blah blah blah. What are they? Well, they make weed and they're nuns. He's like, is that some kind of sick joke on God? And my favorite part is that he's got in this military police thing, and we got the Mexican in the back just chilling, and he's got tacos right just on his shirt, and it's just like, what do you mean? Like,
Is this some
like,
sick joke on God?
I just think like the audacity. He's like, nuns and weed, how disgusting of him, and the absurdity that he thinks that's, and he's just so. And the guy says, "I'm not joking," and he just says, "How many women?" Right? And they're like, and it's just like him interrogating, trying to get understanding. And he's not even like looking at him. He's just like staring off into the distance, and the framing on it. It's so absurd, and it's so good. I cannot express how refreshing it is to have a film just depict moments that I felt, not necessarily like but like conversation with people that you like, I like are trying to have a conversation with me, but I know that they're just blatantly being racist, but have no idea that they're being racist. And that's how I feel.
The lack of self-awareness that they have in those moments. Yeah. Oh man. No, that is a good
This
scene.
is kind of some sick joke on God.
Look, I have a great time with this movie. I will be coming back to it often.
Me too.
It's I think from a technical point, like it's incredible. I love the shots we get in here. From a storytelling, it's amazing. It's funny. We've talked about it. I'm excited to see how this performs in the Oscars. I'm excited to see what else PTA does for his next project, and I'm excited to like see if he continues to commit to big budget films like this, or if he's looking back to do something a little bit more intimate or
Yeah.
with less scale as this is. Again, I just find it amazing, just like his last movie, which was Licorice Pizza, to go from that to this. It's just like this is great. And we said
Absolutely
it also with like the movie Sinners, right? For Ryan Coogler to have gone from like franchise after franchise after franchise to do an original story like that, like it's just love seeing storytellers do this, make this kind of a leap, this jump, but keep like their signature elements that make them who they are. And these two movies are just perfect examples of that.
Man, I truly can't get enough of this movie. I think there's not many films that I like. I will say I'll watch again, but it's often like in the next 3-5 years.
Yeah,
that I'll like put on a regular. I will likely watch this
yearly.
times.
Yeah.
There's something about what they've done here that just is beautiful. It's inspiring. I understand the budget. The cameras in this are no, they're not as big as IMAX, but they're unique. They have their own quirks that require their own things, and to get the shots that they get, it's just phenomenal. So there's so much more. If you haven't watched it, please, like this weekend, just take a time and go experience a truly award film, like a film that is meant to be given praise and glory because of everything that goes into it, from the music to the script to the performances to the cinematography to the editing to the storytelling to the emotional impact that you have from the beginning to the end of the film. And I just think the it will get not only funnier but even better the more you watch this. And I'm here for it. So absolutely go check it out if you have not already.
I think that's it. Look, we hope you enjoyed today's episode on One Battle After Another. Be sure, again, to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And then if you're not watching us on YouTube, head over there, hit that subscribe button. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. That way you can also engage with us on all of the other content that we're releasing on YouTube.
You can follow me at rubio.tv on most of the social platforms.
And you can connect with me, Marcel, on Threads at Marstrosity. That's MARZTROSITY.
Join us next week as we start our month of dystopian films with The Hunger Games.
But we need your help. Go ahead and head over to our Instagram and socials where we are going to list our, 5 favorite dystopian movies. And you guys will pick which ones we should talk about.
We'll see you guys in the next one.
Later.